The silent watchers Captain Elena Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the colony ship New Dawn, watching the stars drift past the viewport. 3 years into their journey to Kepler 442b, the massive vessel carried 50,000 sleeping colonists. In cryopods, each dreaming of a new life among distant stars. Elena had made this voyage once before, leading humanity's expansion to the Proxima system. This time felt different, though. The galaxy seemed quieter somehow. Dr. Marcus Chon approached. From his science station, tablet in hand, the xenobiologist had spent the past year studying signals from their destination system. Captain, we're still receiving those strange transmissions from the outer planets. The patterns suggest artificial origin, but nothing matches known communication. Protocols. Elena nodded thoughtfully. In 200 years of space travel, humanity had encountered only 3 alien species. The Cathari were peaceful traders who preferred to keep to themselves. The Silthan were ancient scholars who shared knowledge freely but rarely left their home systems. The third species, the Vorthans, remained mysterious. They appeared occasionally at trade stations, but spoke little and revealed nothing about their society. Lieutenant Sarah Kim called out from communications. Captain, we have incoming ships on long-range sensors. Configuration unknown, but they're approaching fast. Elena moved to the tactical display. 3 vessels were indeed approaching, their design unlike anything in human databases. The ships were elegant, almost organic in appearance, with sweeping curves that seemed to flow like liquid metal. Any response to our hails, Lieutenant? Negative, Captain. They're maintaining radio silence. Tom Bradley, the chief engineer, looked up from his station with concern. Captain, those ships are packing some serious power sources. My instruments are picking up energy readings off the charts. Commander Alex Thompson, head of security, joined them at the tactical station. The New Dawn carried defensive systems, but it was primarily a colony vessel, not a warship. Captain, I recommend we prepare for the possibility of hostile contact. Elena made her decision. All hands to stations. Wake the duty crew from cryo-sleep. Sarah, continue transmitting on all frequencies. Let them know we're peaceful colonists. The alien ships closed the distance with startling speed. As they drew near, more details became visible. The vessels were beautiful in a deadly way, covered in what appeared to be organic armor that shifted and flowed like living tissue. Weapon ports were barely visible, integrated seamlessly into the hull design. Captain, Sarah called out, we're receiving a transmission. It's using our own communication protocols. Put it through. The main screen flickered to life, revealing a being that was clearly not human. The creature stood nearly 8 feet tall, with elongated limbs and pale, almost translucent skin. Its eyes were large and dark, positioned slightly too far apart to be comfortable for human observers. When it spoke, its voice was melodious, but carried an undertone that made Elena's skin crawl. Greetings, humans of the vessel New Dawn. I am Warlord Zenith of the Vorthan Empire. Your species travels far. From its birth world, Elena stepped forward. I am Captain Elena Rodriguez. We're peaceful colonists heading to establish a new settlement. We mean no harm to your people or territory. Zenith's head tilted in what might have been curiosity. Peace, an interesting concept. Your species speaks often of peace, yet you spread across the galaxy like a plague, claiming worlds that do not belong to you. We only settle uninhabited worlds, Elena replied carefully. We have no desire for conflict with anyone. Uninhabited. Zenith seemed to find this amusing. Tell me, Captain Rodriguez, how does your species determine if a world is truly uninhabited? Do you possess the ability to perceive all forms of life? Dr. Chun stepped forward. Our surveys are thorough. We scan for biological signatures, artificial structures, and energy emissions. Kepler 442b showed no signs of intelligent life. Your scans are primitive, Zenith said dismissively, but this is not why we have come. The Vorthan Empire has been observing humanity for some time. You interest. You? Selena felt a chill run down her spine. Observing us? For how long? Since your first ships left your home system. We have watched you spread to new worlds, establish colonies, and grow in number. Your species shows remarkable adaptability, but also disturbing aggression. You fight among yourselves constantly, even as you expand into space. That's our past, Elena said firmly. Humanity has learned from its mistakes. We've had peace on Earth for over a century. Zenith's expression changed, becoming something that might have been a smile on a human face. On the Vorthan, it looked predatory. Peace through strength, perhaps. We have studied your military capabilities, Captain. Your warships, your weapons, your strategies. All quite impressive for such a young species. Commander Thompson moved closer to Elena. Something in the alien's tone was setting off every alarm bell in his head. Captain, I don't like where this is going. Your companion shows wisdom, Zenith observed. He recognizes danger when he sees it. This is good. Intelligence will make what comes next more efficient. What comes next? Elena demanded. The Vorthan Empire has decided that humanity represents a potential threat to galactic stability. Your species expands too quickly, adapts too well, and shows too much aptitude for warfare. Left unchecked, you would eventually challenge established powers. Elena's heart began racing. We have no intention of threatening anyone. We just want to live in peace, perhaps. But intentions change and potential must be managed. The Empire has determined that humanity should be ... contained. Your expansion ends here. The alien ships suddenly powered up their weapon systems. Energy readings spiked across the New Dawn sensors as targeting systems locked onto the colony vessel. Captain, Tom Bradley shouted. They're charging some kind of plasma cannon. Power levels are enormous. Red alert, Elena commanded. All hands to emergency stations. Sarah, send a distress signal on all frequencies. Captain, Sarah's voice was tight with fear. The signal's being jammed. They're blocking all our communications. Commander Thompson was already at the weapons console. Defensive systems online, but Captain, we're a colony ship. We can't match their firepower. Elena stared at the screen where Zenith waited patiently, as if watching an interesting experiment. Why? She asked. Why murder innocent people? There are families on this ship. Children. Asterisk. Children grow into adults, Zenith replied. Adults build ships and weapons. It is more efficient to end the cycle now. You're talking about genocide. We prefer to think of it as gardening. Pruning back growth that threatens the health of the whole garden. Elena felt rage building inside. You have no right to decide who lives and dies. Rights are determined by power. Captain Rodriguez, we have power. You do not. The calculation is simple. The first blast struck the New Dawn's forward section, tearing through the hull like tissue paper. Atmosphere vented into space as emergency bulkheads slammed shut. The ship's lights flickered as power systems strained to compensate for the damage. Breach on decks 5 through 7, Tom reported. We've lost 3 cryo bays. Elena closed her eyes briefly, thinking of the families who had just died in their sleep. When she opened them, her expression was hard as steel. Return fire. Target their weapon systems. The New Dawn's defensive weapons were pathetic compared to what they faced, but the crew fired everything they had. Most shots were absorbed by the aliens' shields, but a few got through, scoring minor damage on the lead ship's hull. Asterisk. Zenith looked genuinely surprised. Interesting. Most species surrender once they realize the futility of resistance. Humans continue to fight even when death is certain. That's what makes us human, Elena said through gritted teeth. And what makes you dangerous? Zenith replied. Initiate final sequence. The 3 Vorthan ships opened fire simultaneously. The new dawn, never designed for combat, came apart under the coordinated assault. Hull sections were vaporized, cryobays exploded in chains of fire, and the ship's massive engines went critical dot. Elena watched her command die around her. 47,000 colonists would never wake up, never see their new world, never have the chance to build the future they had dreamed of. All hands, abandon ship, she ordered. Launch all escape pods. Tom Bradley's voice crackled over the comb. Captain, most of the pod bays are destroyed. We've only got 12 pods functional. 12 pods. Each could hold maybe 20 people if they packed tight. Out of 50,000 souls aboard the new Dawn, perhaps 240 might survive. Elena ran through the dying ship, helping crew members reach the remaining escape pods. The Vorthans continued their systematic destruction, ensuring no major section of the vessel remained intact. They were thorough in their brutality, as Elena sealed herself into the last escape pod with Dr. Chon, Sarah Kim, and 17 others. She watched through the viewport as the new Dawn's reactor went critical. The explosion lit up space like a small star, beautiful and terrible. The escape pods scattered, their small engines carrying the survivors away from the destruction. Elena expected the Vorthans to hunt them down, to finish what they had started. Instead, the alien ships simply watched for a moment, then jumped to hyperspace, leaving the survivors alone with the wreckage of their dreams. Captain, Dr. Chun whispered, what do we do now? Elena stared at the debris field that had been her ship, her responsibility, her failure. Somewhere in that wreckage were the bodies of people who had trusted her to keep them safe. Children who would never grow up. Families destroyed in minutes by creatures who saw them as nothing more than weeds to be pulled. We survive, she said quietly, and we make sure someone knows what happened here. The escape pod's navigation system showed they were drifting toward a small asteroid field on the edge of the system. If they were lucky, they might find shelter there. If they were very lucky, they might live long enough to tell someone about the Vorthan Empire's crime. What Elena didn't know was that someone was already watching. Hidden in the asteroid field, cloaked by technology beyond anything the galaxy had seen, a ship observed the destruction of the new dawn. The vessel was sleek, angular, and bore no identification markings. It had been following the colony ship for weeks, maintaining perfect concealment. On the bridge of the hidden ship, Admiral Victoria Sterling watched the escape pods approach the asteroid field. Her face was carved from stone, showing no emotion as she absorbed the magnitude of what had just occurred. Orders, Admiral? Asked her tactical officer. Sterling was quiet for a long moment, watching the pods struggle toward safety with their primitive thrusters. These were the lucky ones, the few who had escaped the slaughter. They represented something precious, witnesses. Begin rescue operations, she said finally. Bring them aboard. Full medical support for any injuries. Yes, Admiral. Should we maintain communications blackout? Sterling nodded. Complete silence. The survivors will have questions, but they're not ready for answers yet. As the rescue began, Sterling activated her quantum communicator, sending a message that would travel instantly across thousands of light years to reach Earth. The message was brief, but would change everything. Vorthan Empire has committed act of genocide against human colonists. 50,000 civilians dead. Empire considers humanity a threat to be eliminated. Recommend immediate activation of Protocol 7. The response came back within minutes. Protocol 7 authorized. Show them what happens when they attacked the wrong species. Sterling smiled, but there was no warmth in it. The Vorthans thought. They had just prevented a future threat by destroying one colony ship. They had no idea what they had actually done. For 2 centuries, humanity had been careful to appear weak, to seem like nothing more than peaceful explorers and traders. That deception had just ended. The galaxy was about to learn that the quiet, friendly humans they had dismissed were something else entirely. Something that had been preparing for this day since the first human ship left Earth's atmosphere. Vorthans had made their last mistake. The reckoning Captain Elena Rodriguez woke up in a medical bay unlike anything she had ever seen. The walls seemed to be made of some kind of adaptive material that shifted between transparent and opaque as needed. Medical equipment hummed quietly around her, but the technology was far beyond anything used on colony ships. "You're awake. Good." The voice belonged to a woman in her 50s, with steel-gray hair and the bearing of someone accustomed to command. She wore a uniform Elena didn't recognize, black with silver trim and no visible insignia. "Who are you?" Elena asked, trying to sit up. Her body felt surprisingly good, considering what they had been through. "Admiral Victoria Sterling, Terran Defense Command." Sterling pulled up a chair beside Elena's bed. "You and your survivors have been unconscious for 3 days, while our medical systems repaired the damage from your ordeal." Elena's mind raced. Terran Defense Command? I've never heard of that organization. Most people haven't. That's rather the point. Sterling activated a small device, and a holographic display appeared between them. "What I'm about to tell you is classified at the highest levels, but recent events have made secrecy a luxury. We can no longer afford." The hologram showed a star map of known space, but it included far more detail than any civilian chart Elena had seen. Hidden bases, patrol routes, and ship formations were marked throughout human territory and beyond. For 200 years, Captain Rodriguez, humanity has been playing a very careful game. We've presented ourselves to the galaxy as peaceful explorers, merchants, and colonists. And in many ways, that's exactly what we are. But we've also been preparing. Preparing for what? For what just happened to your ship? Sterling's expression hardened. We've known since first contact that this galaxy contains species who view any potential competitor as a threat to be eliminated. The Vorthans aren't the first to consider humanity dangerous, just the first to act on it. Elena felt a chill run through her. "You knew they were going to attack us? We suspected they might." The Vorthan Empire has been observing human expansion for decades. Our intelligence assets within their territory reported increased military activity near human shipping lanes. We positioned assets to monitor the situation. Assets? Sterling gestured to the medical bay around them. "You're aboard the TDS Nemesis, one of Earth's most advanced stealth vessels. We've been following your colony ship for the past 3 weeks, maintaining complete concealment." Elena struggled to process this information. "If you knew we were in danger, why didn't you warn us, protect us?" "Because 50,000 colonists were acceptable losses if it meant preserving the greater deception." Sterling's words were brutal in their honesty. Every human in space is a soldier in a war. Most of them don't know they're fighting. Sometimes soldiers die to protect the mission. Anger flared in Elena's chest. "Those people trusted me to keep them safe. They were families, children, people who just wanted a better life. And their deaths will ensure that millions of other families get that chance." Sterling stood up, her face showing the weight of command decisions. "The Vorthans just gave us the justification we needed to drop our peaceful facade. Protocol 7 is now active." Before Elena could ask what that meant, the medical bay's door opened. Dr. Marcus Chon entered, looking healthier than he had any right to after their ordeal. Behind him came Sarah Kim and Tom Bradley, along with several other survivors from the new dawn. "Captain," Dr. Chon said, "you need to see this. They've been showing us what humanity really is." Sterling activated the holographic display again, expanding it to show the entire galaxy. "Observe, Captain Rodriguez. This is what the other species see when they look at human space." The display showed the official boundaries of human territory. A modest collection of 12 star systems with small defensive forces and civilian infrastructure. It looked pathetic compared to the vast empires that dominated the galaxy. Now observe what actually exists. The display changed, revealing a network of hidden installations, cloaked ships, and advanced weapon systems spread throughout known space and beyond. Human assets were positioned in systems claimed by other species, monitoring their activities and preparing for contingencies. Elena stared in shock. How is this possible? The resources alone. Humanity has been pooling resources from all colonies since the second generation of expansion, Sterling explained. Every civilian ship carries intelligence gathering equipment. Every colony contributes to the military budget. Every human in space is part of a vast intelligence network. Dr. Chun stepped forward, his xenobiologist training evident in his questions. "Admiral, we've been studying the data you've shown us. The level of preparation suggests you knew something like this would happen eventually. We did. It was inevitable." Sterling called up another display, this one showing psychological profiles of various alien species. Most galactic civilizations follow predictable patterns. They expand until they encounter competition, then they either absorb or eliminate that competition. Peaceful coexistence is rare and usually temporary. Sarah Kim spoke up from her position near the wall. "So all of our diplomatic efforts, our trade agreements, our cultural exchanges, all of that was just buying time?" "Buying time and gathering intelligence," Sterling confirmed. "Every human diplomat, trader, and explorer has been collecting data on alien capabilities, psychology, and weaknesses. We now know more about our neighbors than they know about themselves." Tom Bradley, ever practical, asked the question Elena was dreading. "What happens now?" Sterling's smile was cold and predatory. "Now we show them what happens when you attack the wrong species." The Admiral led them through the ship's corridors to an observation deck. Elena gasped when she saw what was waiting outside. The Nemesis was part of a fleet, but not like any fleet she had ever imagined. Dozens of ships hung in space around them, each one a masterpiece of military engineering. They were sleek, deadly, and completely invisible to conventional sensors. "Meet Task Force Retribution," Sterling said. One of 12 such fleets positioned throughout the galaxy. Each ship in this force could destroy 100 Vorthan vessels without sustaining damage. Colonel James Hunt approached from across the observation deck. He was a tall man with the lean build of someone who lived for combat. "Admiral, we've completed our infiltration of Vorthan space. All assets are in position. Excellent." Sterling turned to Elena and the other survivors. "Would you like to watch the Vorthan Empire fall?" The main display activated, showing multiple viewpoints throughout Vorthan territory. Elena could see their industrial worlds, military bases, and command centers, all going about their normal routines with no idea of what was coming. Dr. Lisa Park stepped forward from a science station. She was a small woman with intense eyes and the confident manner of someone who understood things others couldn't. "Captain Rodriguez, as a xenobiologist, Dr. Chon will appreciate this. We've spent decades studying Vorthan physiology and technology. They have several critical weaknesses." The display showed detailed analysis of Vorthan biology. Their neural systems are highly sensitive to specific electromagnetic frequencies. Their technology relies on organic computing systems that can be infected with targeted viruses. Most importantly, their society is rigidly hierarchical. Remove. The leadership and the entire structure collapses. We're going to destroy their command structure, Elena realized. We're going to do more than that, Colonel Hunt said grimly. We're going to demonstrate that attacking humanity was the worst mistake they ever made. Sterling activated her command interface. All units, execute Phase 1. Across Vorthen space, the attack began simultaneously. Human stealth ships that had been positioned for years suddenly revealed themselves and struck. The attacks were surgical, precise, and devastating. On the Vorthen homeworld, their Supreme War Council was meeting to discuss the successful elimination of the human colony ship when the chamber simply ceased to exist. A single human strike craft had materialized inside their most secure facility and deployed a weapon that converted matter to energy at the quantum level. Installations throughout the Empire found themselves under attack by enemies they couldn't see. Human weapons technology, developed in secret for 2 centuries, proved overwhelmingly superior to anything the Vorthens possessed. Ships that had seemed invincible were destroyed by attackers they couldn't even detect. Captain Michael Torres commanded one of the strike teams, leading the assault on a major Vorthen fleet base. His stealth destroyer, the Shadow Blade, moved through the enemy formation like a ghost. Vorthen ships exploded around him, their crews never knowing what had killed them. Target acquired, Torres reported. Vorthen command carrier flagship of their 3rd fleet. Confirmed. Take it down. The command carrier, a massive vessel that had conquered dozens of worlds, died in seconds. Torres's weapons, based on principles of physics the Vorthens didn't understand, simply unmade the ship at the molecular level. Asterisk back on the Nemesis. Elena watched the systematic destruction of an entire interstellar empire. It took less than 6 hours. When it was over, Vorthen military power had been completely eliminated. Their leadership was dead, and their industrial capacity was in ruins. Phase 2, Sterling announced. Now human ships appeared in every Vorthen system, no longer bothering with stealth. They broadcast a message in the Vorthen language to every surviving member of the species. The Vorthen Empire is ended. Your species chose to commit genocide against human colonists. You believed we were weak because we preferred peace. You were wrong. Any species that threatens humanity will share your fate. This is the only warning you will receive. But the demonstration wasn't over. Dr. Park had prepared something special for the Vorthen homeworld. Captain Rodriguez, she said, your colonists died because the Vorthens saw them as a threat to be eliminated. I want you to activate the final phase of our response. Elena looked at the control interface Dr. Park indicated. What will it do? It will ensure that no Vorthen will ever again have the capability to harm another human being. Asterisk Elena hesitated. The Vorthens had murdered 50,000 innocent people, including children. They had done it coldly, efficiently, without remorse. They had seen humans as nothing more than vermin to be exterminated. She pressed the activation key. On the Vorthen homeworld, every piece of technology simply stopped working. The electromagnetic pulse Dr. Park had designed was specifically tuned to Vorthen technology and biology. Their ships fell from the sky, their computers died, their communications failed. Within minutes, a spacefaring civilization had been reduced to a pre-industrial state. They'll survive, Dr. Park explained, but they'll never again possess the technology to threaten anyone. Their expansion is over permanently. Sterling addressed the survivors from the New Dawn. This message will be broadcast to every species in the galaxy. They need to understand what happens when humanity is threatened. The message was simple and direct. The Vorthen Empire attacked a human colony ship and murdered 50,000 civilians. The Empire no longer exists. We are humanity. We seek peace, but we will respond to aggression with overwhelming force. Choose wisely. Elena watched as the message spread across the galaxy. The response was immediate and dramatic. The Cathari sent messages of sympathy and support. The Sylvan offered to share defensive technologies. Other species, ones Elena had never heard of, sent envoys requesting peaceful contact with humanity. Will this end it? Elena asked. Sterling shook her head. This ends the immediate threat, but there will be others. The galaxy is full of predators who only respect strength. Now they know we have that strength. And if they test us again? Sterling's expression was granite. Then we'll show them that the Vorthans got off easy. Dr. Chun was studying the tactical displays, his scientific mind processing the implications. Admiral, the level of coordination this required, the technology, the planning. Humanity has been preparing for interstellar war since before we made first contact. Since before we left Earth, Sterling confirmed. Our species learned long ago that peace is only possible when those who would disturb it fear the consequences. The Vorthans thought they were pruning a dangerous weed. Instead, they woke up a sleeping giant. Elena looked out at the human fleet, each ship a masterpiece of military engineering, hidden behind a facade of peaceful exploration. What happens to us now? The survivors? You have a choice, Sterling said. You can return to civilian life, with new identities and the knowledge that your sacrifice helped protect millions of others. Or you can join us. The galaxy has seen what happens when they attack humanity, but maintaining that fear requires constant vigilance. Elena thought of the children who had died on the new dawn, of the families destroyed by creatures who saw them as nothing more than obstacles to be removed. She thought of the dreams that had been snuffed out in minutes by aliens who believed might make right. I'll join, she said quietly. Those people were my responsibility. I failed to protect them. I won't fail again. One by one, the other survivors made the same choice. They had seen the true face of the galaxy, had learned that humanity's peaceful facade concealed something far more dangerous than their enemies had imagined. As the human fleet prepared to disperse back to their hidden positions throughout the galaxy, Elena stood on the observation deck of the Nemesis and watched the stars. Somewhere out there, alien species were reassessing their understanding of humanity. The gentle traders and explorers they had dismissed were revealed as something else entirely. The galaxy had learned a hard lesson. Appearances could be deceiving, and the species that seemed weakest might actually be the most dangerous of all. Humanity had spent 2 centuries preparing for this moment, building the tools and gathering the knowledge needed to defend itself against a hostile galaxy. The Vorthans had struck first, believing they were eliminating a future threat. Instead, they had awakened something that would reshape the balance of power among the stars. Humanity was no longer hiding its true nature. The predators of the galaxy now knew they were not alone at the top of the food chain. There was something hungrier, something more patient, something that had been watching and waiting for exactly this moment. The message had been sent, written in the ruins of an empire that had thought itself invincible. The galaxy would remember, and for the first time in millennia, the great powers would sleep less soundly, knowing that the quiet species they had underestimated was always watching, always ready. Humanity had revealed its fangs, and the stars themselves seemed to tremble in response. Asterisk.